You know, in the corporate world, there are lines you just do not cross. You don't schedule a meeting for 4:30 on a Friday. You absolutely do not reply all to a company-wide email. And you never, ever touch another person's labeled yogurt. Tonight, we're not talking about quarterly roadmaps or return-to-office mandates. No, we're opening a cold case. We're diving into the office fridge wars.
Okay, let's take a look at the scene of the crime, the corporate breakroom. A space that's supposed to be for collaboration, maybe a little hydration, but in reality, it's the Wild West of the modern office. And that community refrigerator? That's where the social contract officially goes to die. It's a cold box of broken dreams and passive-aggressive sticky notes.
And here is our victim. A single-serving, strawberry-on-the-bottom yogurt. Now, pay close attention to the identifying marks, written in bold, permanent ink. Karen, do not eat. See, this wasn't just a snack. It was a statement. A tiny, dairy-based claim of personal property in an otherwise lawless land. It was a plea for decency, a plea that went completely unanswered.
The crime itself was just swift and brutal. At 12:15 p.m., we have confirmation the yogurt was there, a little beacon of hope for a midday break. But just 5 minutes later, by 2020, it was gone, vanished. And the only evidence left behind, a single plastic spoon tossed into the trash. It was a message, a taunt. The perpetrator wasn't just hungry, they were brazen.
With no witnesses willing to come forward, we had to turn to the physical evidence. And that brings us to Evidence File A, the Sticky Note Manifesto. These little notes, they're basically the graffiti of the corporate underworld. This is the primary way people communicate when all other, more direct channels have totally failed. Just listen to the language here. This isn't a simple request. It's a curse, a wish of ill will delivered on a tiny 3x3 adhesive square. It shows a complete breakdown in communication. We're past talking. We're into public shaming. You can just feel the resentment in the air.
And here you can see the escalation. We've moved way past poetic curses and gone straight to forensic threats. This person is bringing in corporate intervention. The message is clear. This is no longer just about a missing snack. Oh no, this is now an official human resources incident. An investigation is underway, with DNA evidence, apparently, at its core.
So here's the thing, this whole wall of notes, it just becomes a physical reply-all thread stuck right there to the stainless steel. It is a complete mockery of all that collaboration and synergy were promised in those return-to-office emails, right? We're told to connect in person, but this is the reality. Communicating through angry, anonymous little paper squares. So, with the evidence cataloged, our investigation turns to the perpetrators. See, to understand the crime, you have to understand the criminal. We've put together a list of the key personas, the usual suspects in any case of breakroom theft.
First up, you've got the intern. Their motive is just pure ignorance. They probably just don't know the rules yet. So likelihood? Pretty low. Then you have the forgot my badge executive. They're too busy vision casting to remember their own lunch, so they see your yogurt not as theft, but as a synergistic resource reallocation. Likelihood? Oh, it's high. And finally, our prime suspect, the serial scavenger. This is the person who lingers near the catering trays like a vulture. Their hunger is just insatiable. Likelihood? Very, very high.
So we had our suspects, we had our evidence, we had the timeline, but there was this one question that just kept nagging at us, a loose thread that threatened to unravel the entire case. What if this petty crime wasn't the real story? What if the yogurt was just a symbol for something much, much deeper?
On the left, you see our crime scene, and on the right, that's the real culprit, the pervasive, deep-seated dread of modern corporate life. The Sunday scaries, the endless pings, the pressure to always be on. This wasn't a crime of hunger. It was a crime of desperation.
You know, the truth is, we fight over yogurt because we can't fight the real issues. We can't fight the 60-hour work weeks, or that crushing guilt of trying to take a day off with unlimited PTO, or the soul-crushing dread of a return-to-office mandate. Stealing a yogurt is just a small, desperate grab for control in a world where we feel like we have none.
Which brings us to the final chapter of our investigation. The case, well, it went cold, but the social performance, as it always does, continued. There was no real justice, only the carefully crafted narrative that came after.
And of course, there it was, the inevitable LinkedIn post.
The victim, Karen, framing the traumatic experience of dairy theft as a personal growth opportunity. The pain is repackaged as a lesson in leadership. The violation of trust gets spun into a masterclass on integrity. And of course, the hashtag #YogurtGate.
Let's just consult our corporate Rosetta Stone for a quick translation, shall we? What they say on LinkedIn? Grateful to my previous team for the opportunity. What they actually mean? I will never have to speak to any of them again, and I am literally burning my employee badge as I type this. It's all just the theater of professionalism.
So what was the final outcome of the whole investigation? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The thief was never caught, the yogurt was never replaced, and Karen, she quit 3 weeks later, citing a lack of cultural alignment. In the office fridge wars, there is no justice. The case remains cold.
So as you prepare your lunch for tomorrow, just ask yourself, is your name on it? Is the ink permanent enough? Because out there, in the cold, fluorescent light of the break room fridge, the whole cycle is about to begin again. The weekend's over, damn it.